This is 2016 number 6, a non-calculator question. We're given a table of values and we're asked a couple questions about it. It says, let the functions f and g have continuous second derivatives. That just means that you can take the second derivative, obviously, and the first derivative, but you can take both the first and second derivative. The table above gives values of the functions and their derivatives at selected values of x. Part A, let k of x equal f of g of x. Write an equation for the line tangent to the graph of k at x equals 3. So, I hope you recognize that this is a function within a function. So if we're trying to find the tangent line, we need to find two things, a point and a slope. So here's my point and here's my slope. I know my x coordinate on my point is 3 because it gives me x equals 3. If I come up here to my function, we need to kind of finesse a little bit because we're looking at the graph of k and I don't see a graph of k up here. So to figure out the y coordinate, I need to plug 3 into here. So we have g of 3. Alright, so let me write this down. K of 3 equals f of g of 3. Well, g of 3, if I go to g and I go down to 3, g of 3 is equal to 6. So now I want to know it as f of 6. So I come over here to f and I go down to 6 and that's equal to 4. Therefore k of 3 is equal to 4. So I have a point, now I need a slope. In order to find the slope of a tangent line, I need the derivative. So that means I need to find the derivative of k. And again, this is a composition, which means we need to use the chain rule. So k prime of x equals the derivative of the outside, that's f prime of the inside, times the derivative of the inside, that's g prime of x. So now let's plug in 3 to that. So we get k prime of 3 equals f prime of g of 3 times g prime of 3. And let's look at this table. G prime of 3 is equal to 2. G of 3 is equal to 6. And f prime of 6 is equal to 5. So this is 5 times 2, which is 10. So my slope is 10. My point is 3, 4. Again, I'm sorry I cut you off on that down there. My point is 3, 4. My slope is 10. So I plug it into this point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Final answer. And you get 3 points for that. That's a lot of points for that. 3 points for that answer. I'm sure you get a point for the derivative. I'm sure you get a point for finding this point. And I'm sure the third point comes from actually writing the equation together. Part B, let h of x equal g of x divided by f of x. Find h prime of 1. So they want to know the derivative of h. So let's find the derivative of h. And I hope you recognize that we actually have to use the quotient rule. So h prime of x equals, and let's do this in our heads. It's the derivative of the top, so g prime of x, times the bottom, so times f of x, minus the top, g of x, times the derivative of the bottom, f prime of x, all over the bottom squared, f of x quantity squared. So if I want to know what is h prime, oh my goodness, you can't see this again. If I want to know h prime of 1, let's see if I can zoom out so you guys can see this a little better. Let's see if this will work. Alright, there we go. So if I want to know h prime of 1, I want to know g prime of 1. So g prime of 1 is 8. Times f of 1 times f of 1 is negative 6. Minus g of 1, that's 2, times f prime of 1, that's 3, all over f of 1 squared, that's negative 6 quantity squared. So if I simplify this, 8 times negative 6 is negative 48. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. All over negative 6 squared is 36. Negative 48 minus 6 is negative 54. All over 36. Equals negative 54 divided by 36 is equal to negative 3/2, I believe. Now, here's the thing that's awesome about AP Calculus, and I've told you guys this before. Oh, this, by the way, is worth 3 points. The awesome thing is you don't actually have to get the answer all the way to the end. So it's great if you get negative 3/2, but that's not a requirement. A requirement is that you have a correct answer. Hey, guess what? This is a correct answer. It's equivalent to negative 3/2. This is a correct answer. This is a correct answer. This is a correct answer. I want to show you something. I've done these problems before. Look at my first time I did this problem. Notice that I made a mistake. I put 46 the first time. It's not 46, it's 48. All right? So when I did that and I made a mistake and I got the answer wrong, I would have been marked all wrong, even if this was correct. So I would say do less work than more work, because it's never a good idea to get an answer wrong just because you wanted to do more work. So that is my message to you. And then the last part, part C, we can't do because that's an integral. We don't know how to do that yet.